Tonight, Port Pirie Police fed up with drink drivers after catching 4 in just 1 week. And recycling ships for steel on the cards for the Whyalla Port.
With the latest from around the region, your nightly news with John Hunt begins now.
Good evening. Port Pirie Police say they're fed up with those flouting the law on our roads, warning lives are at risk. The comments come after multiple motorists were caught drink driving last week in the York and Mid-North region.
A vital message that doesn't seem to be getting through. Police frustrated at this week's spate of drink driving offences.
So to have 3 in 1 weekend in Port Pirie is extremely disappointing from our perspective, and we do urge the public to obviously be safe when they are choosing to drink.
A 63-year-old woman was the first to be caught near Wakurna.
The vehicle was approaching them with their high beams on, and they failed to dip their high beams for 3 vehicles, 2 of which were police vehicles.
She was stopped allegedly recording a reading of .142, almost 3 times over the limit. She'll appear in court at a later date. 3 other drivers were also nabbed. A 30-year-old Port Pirie man allegedly recording a reading of 0.82 on Saturday. A 50-year-old Port Pirie man was pulled over on Grey Terrace, allegedly recording a blood alcohol reading of 0.227. In the early hours of Saturday morning, a man lost his licence following a single vehicle crash on Broadway Road.
And a result of .149, which is almost 3 times the legal limit, and a Category 2 offence. He was issued with an instant loss of licence for 6 months.
Police say they'll continue to crack down on drink driving, with random breath testing stations already planned as part of Operation Fatal 5.
It is one of the Fatal 5 offences, drink driving, and it does put a number of other people at risk because people can't drive as well as they can when they haven't been drinking.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
2 Port Lincoln motorists have been caught allegedly driving with methamphetamine in their system, in what's been a busy 24 hours for police. Patrols pulled over a 50-year-old man just after 2 yesterday afternoon. He returned a positive reading for the illicit substance and was also reported for driving while disqualified. 2 hours later, a 25-year-old woman was stopped by police on Cronin Avenue, also allegedly testing positive to methamphetamines. Both drivers had their cars impounded and will face court at a later date. Rowan Ramsey is calling for more government support for regional airports affected by new passenger scanning security upgrades. Regional airports hosting aircraft seating more than 40 passengers now require full passenger screening before flying. Operational costs could see ticket prices go up by an extra $70, with airlines already threatening to cut services.
We should be putting a cap on these charges and setting it at an airport that has $250,000 a year through, for instance, that might equate to $8.
Whyalla, Port Lincoln and Roxby Downs are the regional airports affected. CIMEC Mining is exploring the opportunity to commercialise the Whyalla Port, allowing decommissioned vessels to be recycled into new steel products. The work would utilise local maritime and contractor services, presenting the possibility of job growth in Whyalla.
Private for many decades, Whyalla's port has a proud history of shipbuilding. 40 years on, the slipway is being resurrected for scrapping them as the company expands its capabilities.
This is a great opportunity for Whyalla. It's another example of CIMEC Mining, or GFG, who owns our company, commercialising the port.
It'll take decommissioned old vessels, cut them up and recycle the material into new steel products. The port is the only one in Australia able to handle vessels over 200 metres long. Work on the slipway will commence over the next fortnight.
The slipway is pretty well prepared for what we need to do. The vegetation needs to be cleared. There's some foundations that need to be put in to facilitate a winch.
A winch will pull it onto the slipway, with the process taking 2 months. Management says the plan fits in with GFG's green steel strategy.
To feed the steel back into the blast furnace here at Whyalla or we take the steel and transport it into our network, into InfraBuilds, which is GFG's recycling business, for recycling within Australia.
Those involved say there's a need in the marketplace for scrapping facilities.
It's fantastic for the region and for South Australia. Previously, some of these ships had gone overseas to be scrapped, and if we can do it here, which we believe we can, gives extra work.
Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
The Broken Hill public is being encouraged to have their say and put their ideas forward for a new community strategic plan. City Council holding public meetings this week to help foster grand ideas for the future.
This isn't a plan for the next 2 years, it's looking across the next 20 years. This week sees the start of City Council's workshops for Broken Hill's Community Strategic Plan. It'll be used by Council and other local organisations to chart a course for the city's future looking ahead to 2040.
It's really about giving us as an organisation some broad overviews of where the community wants to go, and then we can put the meat on the bones to make it happen.
Council says their role is to facilitate its development and put suggestions together. They say no idea is too large, asking people to think of the big picture.
Think a bit bigger in the grand scheme of things. I mean, we know that the city has problems with potholes and weeds. I mean, every council in Australia does.
And that's just operational stuff that gets done day to day, week to week. But what this is really about is, how the look and the feel of the city, the sort of livability that people are after.
2 workshops will be held on Thursday at the Civic Centre, one in the morning, one in the evening for the general public. Council says they will also be meeting with local groups and industries.
Health, education, aged care, pretty much everything you can think of, just to try and make sure we get that specialist feedback and people that can let us know which direction they want their industry to go in.
Council will also conduct pop-up sessions around the city along with an online document. Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Still to come tonight, Port Lincoln's Dirt Circuit Club set to rise from the ashes this weekend, and more than 20 short films to be screened at the Whyalla Film Festival. Welcome back. 3 months on from the devastating Duck Ponds bushfire, Port Lincoln's Dirt Circuit Club will host the state titles this weekend. The club was completely destroyed during the fire, but volunteers have rebuilt just in time for the event.
It was last November when the skies above Port Lincoln turned black with smoke. A devastating bushfire had erupted in Tinderbox scrubland and destroyed everything in its path, including the town's dirt circuit track.
Basically burnt the whole, 2/3 of the track area. About the only thing that was saved was the club rooms, and pretty much everything else has had to be rebuilt.
Cars and light posts were completely destroyed, tyre walls turned into a puddle of rubber.
It's not just tyre walls being rebuilt, everything sort of had to be redone on it, dig everything out that was burnt and rebuild her up to how it is now.
Amidst the devastation, the club fired up and vowed to rebuild in time for the annual state titles.
So the state titles event was booked in and we had to meet that commitment to have the track ready by then.
Volunteers came by the dozen to lend a helping hand, the local council donating a grader and roller to help restore the track.
We're just prepping the track now, so we'll be grading and rolling for the rest of the week.
We've had businesses donating machines, their time. We've had volunteers out here helping. As well as a hell of a lot of members and people that have put in their time to do it. But it's certainly been a big effort.
Despite being completely destroyed in the fires, this track is expected to roar back into life with more than 50 cars set to tear up the course this weekend. Dozens of spectators and car enthusiasts are set to line the barriers for what organisers promise will be an unmissable show.
It's a big thanks to everyone that's put in their time, businesses and community, and hopefully we can have a good event.
The race kicks off this Sunday at 8 a.m. Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Great stuff. Police are urging the community to come forward with any information regarding a trailer that was stolen from Hamley Bridge last week. It was taken from Hospice Road between Tuesday the 25th and Thursday the 27th of February. Police say it contained nearly $10,000 worth of power tools. Anyone with information is urged to contact Crime Stoppers. The state government has unveiled new laws to help combat coronavirus and similar threats in the future. New amendments will allow a warrant to be issued in order to detain a person who is suspected to be increasing the risk of spreading the disease. The proposed changes will also expand communications, informing more Australians who might have been exposed to the virus. 3 confirmed cases have been detected in South Australia so far, with a 4th waiting for test results. Budding local screenwriters will have the chance to have their ideas put on the big screen at this year's Whyalla Film Festival. More than 20 short films will be shown at the Arts Centre's big screen.
Passionate about the arts, Michael Hughes says local filmmakers now have the chance to shine.
A desire to include more local content and Whyalla stories into the film festival. We wanted stuff that was really true to Whyalla and what Whyalla means to the people here.
We supported Michael to gain some funding from the South Australian Film Corporation and their audience development round. So she's got some money to run some workshops and engage more people in filmmaking and storytelling.
Multiple workshops were held to encourage more locals to participate. The last session will be held tomorrow in Kimba.
Driving to Kimba tomorrow to deliver something to someone who's not in Whyalla. So that's a new thing too. Previously it's been organisations within Whyalla.
This year's winner will be announced on the big screen.
We'll be screening the winning entries to the 62nd Film Festival and announcing the winners of that.
Defaces have entered a piece about the secrets that lie beneath Hummock Hill, this year expecting around 30 entries.
We tend to get mostly young entries, so we have a youth section which gets a lot of interest and a lot of content submitted. We do also have an adult section.
Locals encouraged to support the event.
Film Festival is on Wednesday the 18th of March as part of Unearth Festival, and we are selling tickets at the Middleback Arts Centre, so they're available at the box office and online.
It's great for the kids to see themselves up on the big screen. Like, you really see their faces light up when they see something that they've made on that kind of format.
Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Stay with us. We meet the next generation of Port Lincoln beer brewers. And a race with a twist added to the St Pat's Race Day in Broken Hill. Port Lincoln's Beer Garden has received a funding boost to help upskill workers within the craft beer industry. The pilot program will see a dozen trainees across the state join local breweries in a year-long initiative.
A new brew for Port Lincoln's Beer Garden with 2 trainees joining the crew. Brody Burrows and Cameron Sprout starting their first shift today.
It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. You don't get many chances to get a work in a brewery, and something I've always wanted to do. So.
The 2 trainees are a part of a dozen others across South Australia who have joined a year-long brewery initiative aimed to boost the craft beer industry.
So excited to actually get in behind the scenes here and see what we can create.
The state government partnered with the Independent Brewers Association to help fund the $45,000 pilot program.
So it'll be the highest level of brewing sort of education they've had in South Australia so far, run through Regency TAFE.
The program is set to help trainees become commercial brewers, saving small craft businesses thousands of dollars and hours previously needed to train workers.
It's something that breweries around Australia have been crying out for, actually have people on board that have professional skills, they're up to date with all the science, all the QA, all the technical specifications of what they're doing and making sure they're just doing it to that top standard.
It's a big career change for Brody, who's been working as a teacher for the past several years.
It's something that I sort of want to do in the future and follow on, not just this once, but hopefully the rest of my life as well.
The pilot program will run for a year. Hope to brew the perfect storm for South Australia's craft beer industry.
We have the best malting grade barley, bar none, in the world, so we really should be pushing that and making something amazing with what we grow in the state.
Nathan Rector, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
New products to help capture, store and move water will be on show across the Eyre Peninsula to help drought-stricken farmers improve water infrastructure. A water use on farms workshop will be rolled out across the region this month in Elliston, Kimba and Wanilla. The sessions come as hundreds of farmers continue to do it tough, as low rainfall cripples communities, with many towns now facing the daunting prospect of a third year of drought. To register for the event, visit the Natural Resources website. A major tourism campaign has been launched in Sydney, selling the Far West region as a holiday destination like no other. The It's Out There message was unveiled at a pop-up Bell's Milk Bar inside the International Convention Centre. The region showcased on the world stage, encouraging more visitors to come and stay longer.
Come out and enjoy the skies, the sun, the people, the culture, the heritage. And, don't just visit Broken Hill, visit White Cliffs, Menindee, Silverton.
The campaign is a collaboration by Destination New South Wales and the Broken Hill City and Central Darling Shire councils. Organisers of this year's St Pat's Race Day have added a new race to the event, and it's got nothing to do with horses. The course will be awash with leprechauns in what's been described as the richest foot race in Broken Hill.
Miss this race and you'll be green with envy.
We've got leprechaun costumes. We're now looking for leprechaun runners.
The countdown is on to the 55th annual St Pat's Races, and organisers are still adding events to the festivities. Today, another race was confirmed for the day, but in a twist, it's not for thoroughbreds, it's for some lucky racegoers.
We're going to have a ninth race. We're going to have a leprechaun race, where individuals will dress in leprechaun uniforms.
The Dash for Cash will be the last event on the card. Locals can register at the St Pat's office, with 10 finalists being drawn on the Wednesday before the event. And this is where the race will take place, the home straight on the Broken Hill track. The Leprechauns will sprint 100 metres to the finish line. First past the post will win a pot of gold.
Vines Furniture One and Comforting Crystal have come on board as being our major sponsors in this race, and they are actually footing a $1,000 winner takes all.
The club says it's great to add unique activities and attractions to the event. There'll also be an open food and drink area for general admission punters.
Outlets like CC and Dry, Pims, Wine Bar. And as I said, we're not going to say too much at this stage. We'll unveil more about that next week, but this is a major infrastructure going in at the racecourse.
Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Stay with us after the break. Shari Hams has the weekend sports results. And Britt will join us with the latest weather details. Hello again. With the finals just around the corner, it's crunch time in Port Pirie softball. Both games went down to the wire on the weekend, with the results impacting who'll make the playoffs. Shari Hams has this week's sports wrap.
The Tigers were left wondering what went wrong in their game against the Cougars, with excitement created in the first innings by Casey Baldock with a 3-bagger over centre field. On the other hand, Cougars conceded their first 3 batters in the first, Dick piling on 7 runs in the second innings, courtesy of the strong batting Emily Golzalves and Mel Golzalves. Cougars had a few quiet achievers, Alexis Hill and Georgia Salt. The other match had checkmates put a scare into the Cats camp with a remarkable comeback in the top of the 7th innings. However, Kaylee Siwak starred to keep the Solly Cats on top. Whyalla softball saw Indians beat the Roadies, Tori Long and Beck Anderson the standouts. Tigers also bet Eagles, with Kath Wilson and youngster Naranda McIntosh making a good impression. Over to Port Pirie basketball, the Pacers continue their charge towards the final with a 16-point win over Tomcats. And Ducks had a 60-46 victory in their game against Globetrotters. Over to Port Augusta basketball, and the Wildcats losing by a disappointing 3 points to the Cobras. Eagles also coming out on top against the Titans in a late 9 p.m. match. Down to Whyalla, the Demons neck and neck with the Braves losing by 1 point, and the Wildcats were no match for the Roos. Over to Port Lincoln, and there was a close scoring matches across the board. Packers lost by 2 points to the Rangers 2. The Rangers won, however, coming out on top against the ladder-leading Sharks. And finally to soccer, a combined Whyalla side faced Savoy in a pre-season friendly in Port Pirie on Saturday. In an entertaining match, the two teams shared the points in a 5-5 draw. And that's it for sport from across the region. We'll be back again next week.
It's now time to take a look at what's happening in the weather. Here's Britt.
Thanks, John, and good evening. 25 was the high at Port Pirie today, 23 at Port Augusta, Whyalla and Port Lincoln both recorded tops of 22, Broken Hill 21. From the satellite, thick cloud crossed our region today with a trough producing showers. Moving along to tomorrow on the Gulf waters, southeasterly winds at 15 to 20 knots with seas around 1.5 metres. Fine and partly cloudy over most centres tomorrow, 28 degrees the expected top at Port Augusta, Woodner, Corn and Port Pirie. Kadina cloudy and 27, Clare 25, Whyalla also 25, looking sunny, a top of 24 at Cleve, Broken Hill also 24 with showers expected, Port Lincoln and Coffin Bay both 23. As we take a peek further through the week, mostly fine conditions on the forecast. Port Lincoln and Cleve with maximums in the early 20s. Woodner with tops sitting around 28 and 29 degrees. Whyalla and Kadina both partly cloudy Thursday, Friday and Saturday with maximums in the mid-20s. Port Augusta looking sunny, 28 the high on Thursday, 29 on Saturday. Partly cloudy at Port Pirie Thursday and Friday, sunny and 28 on Saturday. Clare mostly fine with tops sitting in the mid-20s. Broken Hill expecting showers on Thursday, sunny Friday and Saturday. And John, it's back to you.
Thanks for that, Britt. And that's the local news this Tuesday evening. Thanks for joining us. I'll have updates later, but until then, enjoy your evening. On behalf of the entire news team, it's good night.